Haason Reddick's situation with the New York Jets is reaching DEFCON 5. He basically no-showed their entire training camp. No one has heard from him. He has been fined so much. This is from, I believe his name is Connor Hughes from New York media, Connor J. Hughes, saying we're getting to the point in the Jets where Haason Reddick's holdout, where whatever money he would get with the contract adjustment and incentives will simply cover what he's being fined. Good Lord. He won't make anything additionally. This thing really doesn't make much sense to me. He's already been fined $1.2 million. He'll be fined an additional $940,000 if he holds out through the first preseason game, which of course he's going to. The way it was explained to me today, the ball's in his court. Whenever he wants to show up, he'll show up. This is, I mean, if you are Monty Ossenford, I think you swoop in because the Jets team is the Jets team. I'm sorry. Yeah, how is it going to look if you trot this guy in like week 5 and you're like, hey, come save our pass rush? Like against the guy, if you're Robert Saleh, you're ready to move on. And the Cardinals could be in an advantageous position. I've put out 100 feelers. I even reached out to Connor today. I've yet to hear back from anybody. I am waiting on bated breath to see if the Cardinals have any interest, because I'm going to tell you right now, you are lying through your teeth if the Jets, if you're thinking to yourselves, the Jets won't take a phone call. Of course they would. Of course the New York Jets, with one of their prize free agents, would basically opt to pivot because it's been such an embarrassment for them.
Yeah, I don't know how you can preach this team being a unified front, team guys, not me guys, and then you go out and get a player that's put on this display.
Because Jonathan Gannon coached him and he had 16 sacks.
I know. I know you've got two different parts of your party. Like Cardinals fans watched Haason Reddick be, a good player and teammate during his first 4 years of his career,
Ideal
with the organizational malpractice. Absolutely. But look, his actions right now don't match up with what organizationally the philosophies of this organization. And I think it would be a little bit out of character, in my opinion, for them to enter, conversations for Haason Reddick.
I don't respectfully, I don't think you can be Boy Scouts 100% of the time and expect to take the kind of jumps you want as a franchise. Like if you're hitting on 95%.
Monitor the situation. Monitor it. That's all you need to do right now, because tomorrow's game doesn't matter. It's preseason. Next week's game doesn't matter. And the game after that doesn't matter. So keep monitoring the edge rusher situation, because right now there's just no reason to be knee jerk to it. I just don't.
Well, I don't know if we're knee jerking, but here's why I'll push back. Your timeline of your rebuild publicly is over in terms of viability and being competitive and winning games. That happened the minute Kyler Murray came back, played well. You doubled down on him. You're paying his salary. You have an expectation of have a winning record this year. When you invest one resource in a pass rusher in 2 drafts, not counting Darius Robinson, and that pass rusher goes down, guess what? You don't get to use the cop-out of, you know what? We need more time to rebuild. You've opted. How many draft picks have they had in 2 drafts? Double, over 20.
9 and 12. So,
21 draft picks. And how many in the top 100? Half of that, right? A ton. And you use one of them on a pass rusher and the kid blew out his knee. And that's really unfortunate, right? You had big expectations for him. But B.J. Ojulari was hurt last year during the offseason. You knew that. He came into camp not ready to go. And you had every opportunity to say, we have a lot on B.J. Ojulari's plate. We think highly of B.J. But you know what? Let's go and take the necessary procedures and practices in free agency to make sure we have a fail-safe. A Daniil Hunter would have been a fail-safe. They opted not to do that. And the minute you chose not to do that, you left yourself vulnerable to something like this. And unfortunately, it happened to you. So you now have to put yourself in a position to be uncomfortable. You have to put yourself in a position not to let down your fan base or your defense. I have full confidence, Bo, that they're going to scheme their way defensively to some wins this year. But I just, with a pass rush group of the Dumacagis, the Gardex, and even Zaven Collins, his career best was 3.5 sacks last year. That's not a realistic recipe for success. to make the postseason, in my opinion. You need something else.
Right. But if I were to be like Jim Cramer, the Mad Money guy, and I'm monitoring the market right now, it's just not advantageous for you to go out and make a deal. And to go and bail out the Jets probably doesn't, it's not the best time to strike right now. Just bide your time, continue to let, and I know you know a lot about your current pass rush room because it is basically the status quo from the previous season. And just continue to monitor it. Like there's like adding, even if they added Carl Lawson or they added Yannick Ngakoue, it doesn't do anything for the Cardinals right now. It just doesn't. Like it doesn't put them in a position to get to the playoffs here on August 9th.
Well, hey, I want to address the comment here. Jalen Blair, who's a big friend of this program, rational people never thought this was a one-year rebuild. Fans are getting impatient and want to microwave this thing instead of slow cooking it. I'm not saying part ways with first-round picks and go all in this year.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit ridiculous to suggest that this team with Haason Reddick, you're mortgaging your future. Trading a third-round pick and giving a guy a 2 or 3 year extension, paying a little bit more.
The guy hasn't shown up to work.
I think that's a byproduct of the New York Jets. That's a Jets problem.
What was going on in Philly? Philly felt like, hey, we can just trade this guy out of here. This is a guy that had 17.5 sacks on their way to the Super Bowl.
What I was told is because they got rid of everybody that was a Jonathan Gannon guy. Look, their entire defense. They drafted a bunch of new defensive tackles, and they got rid of everybody that was a J. There was probably no bigger JG guy in terms of being a recipient of JG's coaching than Haason Reddick, unless your name is like Reed Blankenship. But all those guys, the cornerbacks, the edge rushers, they got rid of them all. And it's unfortunate for the Cardinals of the situation as it was with Philly and Howie Roseman, because I really do believe, I don't believe this, I know this, if Haason Reddick's on one of the other 31 NFL franchises, they pursue Haason Reddick. He's probably an Arizona Cardinal, but they will never do a deal with Howie Roseman. So now,
look, the fact remains, and Angels making it, and he's trying to be, pro Reddick, is he wants a new deal. 29 years old. He wants a new deal. He wants new money, bigger money.
Who are you paying?
I understand that, but you don't just start, like, you're changing the precedent that you set as far as the type of player that you have, the character you have, how you operate, and how you make yourself available to your team, your teammate, your coaching staff, and then also, what you're willing to pay a player, especially as somebody who's exiting his prime years.
The Cardinals have $35 million. They opted not to use it. Right. They could. We're talking about Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter and Haason Reddick are like the same age, right?
Right.
And if you were worried about age and timing, Jonathan Grenard was 27. You didn't want him. You made it clear none of these guys fit our timeline in free agency. But you were not in a position, in my opinion, now in hindsight, to not add help at pass rusher. And you and I sat here and did show after show in March and gave them the benefit of the doubt. And now, in my opinion, it's time to be critical. And they have an open roster spot. And let's see if they can make the most of it.